I'd love to know what went into Busch Gardens' decision to go with a wooden coaster as opposed to some other family ride.
I think again at a 46-inch height requirement, it's the type of attraction that really threads that needle. We have some awesome coasters, as everybody knows. We have a great history of finding unique elements, differentiating elements in each of our rides. And so we said, you know what? We don't have a wood coaster. We've been hearing from fans for years that a wood coaster would be a perfect fit. And this village in New France is the perfect way to kind of rejuvenate and revitalize the village. And again, at a 46-inch height requirement, we feel like that's an area that we want to penetrate more of and have more of a family thrill kind of attractiveness to our ride portfolio. We have some coasters like Griffin and like Alpengeist that skew to an older audience, and so this is that great first big kid coaster that I think is going to really deliver.
Yeah. Why did you choose GCI?
Excellent partner. They have a great reputation in the industry. GCI has been great to work with. They're just known so well throughout the industry for delivering a great wood coaster product. So it was a great fit.
Yeah. Did any team members get to try out any other GCI's products that sort of acted as inspiration for the ride?
We always do benchmarking. That's always a big part of what we do when we're thinking about and contemplating different attraction concepts. We think about a number of things, but one of them is there some place that we could benchmark, and so we have done that. We've gone to other parks and ridden their wood coasters as a way to understand what the sensation feels like, what the maintenance on the ride's going to be like. And I think in the industry the number one goal is safety, and so there's always that opportunity to engage your partners and make sure that we deliver not only an exciting experience, but most importantly a safe one.
Do you know how many trains are going to be running?
2 trains.
2 trains.
2 trains running. Yep.
Not a lot of lag time, right?
No, there's not. It'll be fast.
Nice. And how long has this ride been in the works?
Well, we started construction in last April. We started doing some site clearing work, but that, the time to design an attraction before you actually are putting a shovel in the ground can be months, and that's the typical kind of schedule you would see, several months for an attraction like this one.
We noticed with the recent animation that there was a tunnel added over the first drop. Was that always originally the plan, or is that a recent addition?
I believe that was part of the plan. I can't 100% certainly say, but I know we've been focused on kind of a thrill element, but also some way to absorb some sound, and so we thought that probably makes sense to put that sort of tunnel or barrier there. So I would tend to think that it was part of the initial design, but again, it's part of a thrill component, but also a way to just mitigate some of the sound and the noise. You're going to get that wood feel. It's everything about this, as Adam said. When you step into the plaza, it's going to look like the ride has been here for a long time because of the way it fits so well into the surrounding elements of the village, whether it's the smokehouse or the trading post or Acadia Traders, even the restroom.
Any special effects?
Well, it's going to give you that kind of village feel. That's the theme. It's really the sense of kind of adventure and battle is the theming elements that we're trying to evoke when you step into our plaza. So you'll see that from the time you walk into the plaza. There will be a great set piece that will go in at the entry of the plaza, not too far from now, and when you get into that ride station, it's going to give you that just wood coaster feel.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hog things, so I'll ask you one more question. Can we expect any more opportunities for guests to decide the ride?
We may have a trick or two up our sleeve before we open. We don't want to quite tip our hand just yet, but we will make sure that just like the day we announced it and all the way up to now, that our fans will be engaged all the way through opening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for answering my questions.
You bet. Good questions.
All right, Coaster Studios fans, this is Adam House with great coasters, and what we'd all love to know is why the steel frame instead of an all-wood roller coaster?
Sure. So the steel frame is something that we just recently developed, maybe a few years back. And we realized that some customers don't want to have to worry about keeping the structure tight, because with a 100% wood coaster, you basically have to tighten the ride at least once a year, 100% of the ride. And so when Busch Gardens saw this idea down in Florida that we had already implemented, they thought, wow, we can cut some of our maintenance costs and make the overall maintenance of the ride a little bit easier and still keep the ride visually appealing and visually spectacular by going with that steel structure. And so we worked hand in hand with Busch Gardens to kind of develop that steel structure with the galvanized coating on there, and it's really going to be a great product.
Okay. And you're still not going to tell us what's in the shed?
Still don't know what's in the shed.
Okay. How do you divide and conquer with this and Mystic Timbers at the same time?
And 2 rides in China.
And 2 rides in China. Wow.
Patience and a lot of extra help.
Okay. So you were talking about the trains that were causing the roughness in the ride at Busch Gardens.
Sure.
So what's the difference exactly between those trains and this train? You described it as square?
Yeah, so when Gwazi opened, it actually had what we call a box train. If you look at it, it's got 2 wheels in the front and 2 wheels in the back.
Right.
So anything that's got a rectangular or square shape, trying to go through a curve on a track, right, it's going to bounce around because it can't get tangent to any rail. And so when you ride a train or ride a roller coaster with those trains, you can feel the train do this all the way through the curve. And those tiny little impacts you're always doing are actually damaging the track. And so Gwazi had that over 15 years. And then we put Millennium Flyers, which are our trains, on the track in 2012. By that time, it already had several years of those trains running on the ride. So this ride...
So they would have had to redo it to smooth it out.
Exactly. So the track needed to be smooth with the new trains. And just the cost became astronomical for how... I mean, that ride's probably 3 times the size of this.
Yeah.
So it just became crazy. So this ride's opening with Millennium Flyers. And it's going to be great.
So putting on the Millennium Flyer is actually preventative for a future rough ride?
Oh yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Cheely, Director of Design and Engineering, right?
Correct.
We're with Coaster Studios, and we really would like to know how you came up with the idea for the theming for InvadR.
The story behind the ride is that the Vikings have invaded this logging camp, okay, where the loggers live, and it's actually Trappers Village has always had the logger camp. You'll see little signs and little pieces of it. I don't know that people have really paid attention to it that much over the years, but it's kind of always been here. Our marketing people had come up with the idea of the Vikings have come in and they've invaded the logging camps. So we're putting fences around that make it look more like a fort, and there's some theming pieces, some really fun theming pieces that are going to come in the 1st of March, and it'll make a lot more sense once you come, when the park's open, when the attraction's open. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
So how did you come up with it? Just the idea from New France? That's what inspired it?
I'm not really sure. Like I said, I think it was our marketing or our entertainment group that kind of came up with the idea. There's always a story behind each of the rides. I'm not sure that people really even pay attention to it that much, but
they just love it.
They just kind of came up with the idea, and we all rolled with it. We all went with it.
Nice. We also would love to know why Busch Gardens chose to put the ride here, and why they decided on this spot.
Well, we have been talking about a wooden coaster for years, and we have a lot of steel coasters. We have, we have Alpengeist, we have Griffin, we have Black Nest, we have a lot of different coasters in the park. The wooden coaster has always been kind of one of those things we love to put in, but it just fits in this village, right? We already have the log cabins, we have a lot of wood here. It just seemed to really fit. So, and I'm really happy with the way things have turned out. I don't know if you noticed the logs on the station and everything, but everything just kind of is coming together really, really nicely.
And what can we expect as we're waiting in the queue?
Sorry?
What can we expect as we're waiting in the queue? A lot of, how when you're waiting for Verbolten, you have the lovely Australian woman, or is she German? I can't remember. German, yes. So what can we expect as we're waiting in line to get on the train for InvadR?
Well, there'll be music. There'll probably be a little bit of video here and there, kind of warning you about the different things and talking to you a little bit about the story, the background story and things like that. There'll be some signage, and I don't want to say too much about the theming pieces, but
don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, but there's going to be some fun things that you aren't seeing today that are going to be added. We have 2 trains. One train is themed more toward the loggers, and the other train is themed more toward the Vikings.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
All right, that sounds fun.
They are.
Thank you, Suzy, for letting us interview you and answering our questions.
You're very welcome.
All right.